All right. This is my project for HP 320. Please bear with me as I give this presentation. I'm a little bit under the weather right now, but let's go ahead and get into it. My name's Sierra Space, and for my research proposal, I decided to create a correlational study to better investigate the relationship between a high carbohydrate diet and running performance, specifically in collegiate level runners. So the purpose of the research, as you could assume from the title, is to see if a high carbohydrate diet increases running performance in collegiate level distance runners compared to all other diet types. For my research, I was looking specifically at runners who race 5 kilometers or greater. Research on this topic has had mixed findings, so it was really hard for me to hypothesize what I thought I would see in the results. However, I did hypothesize that a high carbohydrate diet will be associated with improved running performance. Thus, a positive correlation between a high carbohydrate diet and running performance would be expected. The information that could be learned from the study could be used to help educate collegiate level distance runners, both specifically at Marshall University and other colleges, on the relationships between dietary intake and running performance so that these athletes can make well-informed decisions when selecting foods that they eat. As I mentioned, research done on this topic has had a lot of contradicting findings. You can see here from many of the research articles that I referred to as I wrote this proposal that their findings did not always align. And due to the large differences in conclusions on this topic, it's clear that more research is needed to better understand the relationship between diet and performance. Additionally, very few of these research articles have been done specifically looking at the running performance and diet relationship specifically in college level runners. So a goal of my research is to learn more about the relationship between diet and performance in these high caliber athletes. The present study can really help to improve how dietary intake impacts running performance, or if it does at all. And if we better understand this, then we can, again, like I mentioned, have a better opportunity to allow college level runners to make educated decisions when they're choosing what kind of foods they eat. So I'd like to talk specifically about the procedures to be performed in my research experiment or my research proposal. Um, For this study, I would like to use distance runners who race a 5 kilometer or greater distance from the Marshall University cross country or track and field teams. This is a very convenient sampling size and sampling group for me since they're already a part of the university that I attend and meet the criteria for this study. So here's the materials. Oops, excuse me. Here's the complete inclusion criteria for being in my study. Again, I said Marshall cross country or track team. I have here 30 to 50 or 40 to 80 miles or kilometers every week over the past 6 months, just so that they have a baseline running background. They must have completed a minimum of 3 races, 5 kilometers or greater in the past 6 months. They can't have any sudden dietary modifications or health challenges that could interfere with their running performance. 18 years or older, just because it's hard to get consent with people under 18. However, this shouldn't be a problem since these are college students. They're mostly over 18, or they all should be. And like I said, you need to make sure that you meet all these criteria. So now the procedures to be performed, specifically the materials. 2 questionnaires will be given to these athletes. The first one is a food frequency questionnaire, has 104 categories of foods. Um, and the runner, the athlete, has to select foods that they best that represent like how often they consume them. And there's a space that they can put in foods that might have not been listed in categories provided, just in case, because we do want to make sure that we um, understand and keep track of everything that the athletes are eating. The second questionnaire is the running performance questionnaire. It is more simple or quick and easier to fill out because it only has 6 questions that ask for demographic information about the runner and information pertaining to their training history, and it has uh, a space for them to put in their last 3 races they completed. I'll go ahead and show you what the questionnaires look like. So here is the food frequency questionnaire I created. Excuse me. Um, it's about 6 to 7 pages, listing as many foods as possible that I could come up with. And while I created this food frequency questionnaire, I actually referred to food frequency questionnaires published by the National Institute of Health. And at the end, you can see there's a section for participants to add any foods they consume that aren't listed on the questionnaire, just in case. Although I did try to include as many categories as I could. So the second questionnaire is the running performance questionnaire. It's much shorter than the food frequency questionnaire, and the main data that I wanted to collect was their race times, but I also asked other questions that might be useful in identifying some outside variables that could impact the running performance aside from diet. So now the procedure itself, researchers will mail the invitation or invitations to participate and copies of the survey to the qualifying students on the Marshall track and field or cross country teams. And the researchers, like myself, have access due to communication with the team's coach. I do want to mention the questionnaires are completely anonymous. And as informed consent agreements will be also mailed with the questionnaire, and return postage for the signed consent forms and completed questionnaires would be included. Excuse me. This is the participant consent form that I developed. While I was creating this, I referenced a sample consent form published by Cornell University, and I really catered it to my study. Finally, I would like to address the risks or potential benefits of this study. There are no anticipated risks from participating in this research, and there's really no therapeutic benefits either for participating in this study. The goal and purpose or benefits of this study would be that the information could benefit collegiate distance runners now and in the future about their relationships between diet and running performance to help them make better educated decisions on what types of food that they eat if they want to improve their performance. And so this is my presentation for my research proposal for HP 320. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry I was kind of coughing a little bit. I did my best, so thank you for a good semester, and hope you enjoy this presentation.